Good evening, and welcome to the Indie Voice Show, where artists can listen, learn, and grow with knowledge empowering success. And now, here is your host, singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, Miss Wendy Hicks.
And we are live. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Hello, my Indie Voice audience. Hello to my Facebook Live audience. Thank you guys for joining. I don't know about you, but I'm a little surprised by this weather. I was expecting the clouds to open up and having ice, sleet, snow, rain, all kinds of stuff going on. So honestly, I thought I was going to be doing the show from home, but here we are. We have a very special show lined up for you tonight. We're doing something a little different. Last week, I added a new segment called The Golden Nugget, which was great. It got a great response because it was a segment on this particular show was the Indie Artist Checklist, and it was a checklist of things that artists should do in order to properly align their business, forming your LLC, registering with ASCAP, BMI. We talked about trademarking and copyrights and, publishing. So we covered quite a bit of material, and it was so much so that, one, we know that we need to go back and add to that show. And two, from that, we definitely know that we are in the process of putting together a workshop that will educate and inform artists, give you more information and resources so that we can get some of these projects off the ground. And on a side note, I do my best thinking in the shower. That's just a little personal tidbit about me. And one of the things that I thought about, which would be pretty cool, I don't know all the particulars yet, but it would be pretty cool to start up a group. I don't know if I'll do it on Facebook or do like a group of artists that are working on projects and, go on there and maybe voice some of your roadblocks that you're having. Maybe you need access to writers, or maybe you're looking for a studio, or maybe, you need whatever you need. I think it would be great, a support group. So I thought about that. What? You laughing? Support groups aren't just for, people that are, having those kind of issues, drugs and all of that. But, we all need support from time to time. And sometimes even if you just need to vent, or you're frustrated about, maybe you have writer's block. Maybe you need some tips on, how to get this message across. I don't know. But that's something that I think would be beneficial. And for my friends that are on, hey, Gloria, that are on Facebook Live, I'm going to try to monitor you guys real time since you are sending messages. If you can think of, or if it's something that my fellow artists are interested in, then please hit me up and let me know. So again, last week we talked about, setting up your business, incorporating your business. And I had another wonderful guest co-host, Miss Heather Mendelkorn. And she is the founder of Holistic Hip Hop Collective, and she was also able to contribute to the conversation. And she offered some advice and some tips on what can happen, or not advice or tips, but some scenarios, some real case studies of things that can happen if you don't put your business in place. Not only will you lose money, but somebody else could potentially take what's rightfully yours. So, you really got to be mindful. You got to put things in place from the beginning. So we'll definitely keep you posted on the workshop that we're planning. Got some dates and I have a venue in mind, but we're just trying to line up some dates. So we'll definitely, stay tuned for that to come. I'd like to thank you guys for joining. Hello, viewers that are viewing for the first time. Welcome. We want to welcome you. We're here every week at 6 o'clock. Make sure you bring your friends and tell them about Indie Voice. Again, we are a station that seeks to empower with knowledge. We want to motivate and we want to inspire artists that are looking to do their projects. Or if you finished your project and now you want to know what's next, we try to provide information. Not only is it a resource for artists, but it's also for anybody that has a passion that they are seeking to embark on, and they want to they want to live in their dream. So it's all the message is the same in terms of being motivated and inspired, but our focus is on we're focusing on the music, right? Yes. So with that being said, so we added a new segment, Golden Nugget. We have, since the beginning of the year, have added another segment called Indie Artist Quick Tips. And I am, a little side note, I am a affiliate for the Indie Bible, and which means, one, that I've got people from all over the world that are hitting me up, which is great. I'm happy about that. But it makes the audience even more diverse because I'm having managers from, Texas. Like I'm going to be showing a video from a country artist, which is a little different. But, again, we're broadening our horizon. It's not about the genre, but it's about the business. So we will be featuring that video a little later on the Have You Heard segment. But in the meantime, the Artist Quick Tip, which is taken from the Indie Bible, tonight we're going to talk about, the article is entitled Essential Tips for Using Social Media on Your Website. Now, this is an article by Chris Bolton, and he is a blogger from the Host Baby blog. Let's see. It says here, and I'm not going to read the whole article, but some of the things that I extracted from it. So social media and website promotion are like two peas in a pod. Yes, absolutely. You do need both as an artist. It says you need both in order to create a successful online presence. You need to send social traffic to your website, and you need to send website traffic to your social media sites. In order to get this motor running, you need to make sure that your website is well equipped with the buttons, widgets, and calls to action that will encourage your website visitors to cross into your social sphere. There are three main ways to do this: follow buttons, share buttons, and social widgets. So let's see, it goes, and I will post this on my Indie Voice fan page. But just to kind of give you a quick insight, it says don't link to social networks you are not active on. Just because you have an account doesn't mean you should link to it. When a visitor lands on your page, you've probably only got their attention for a few moments before they click away. If all they do is subscribe to a YouTube channel with no videos on it, you may have lost a potential fan. 2, include a call to action. Now, this is something that I'm guilty of, and I see it quite a bit on Facebook as well. You tell people to share your information, and that's it. Oh, share my website, follow me on Twitter, but you're not specific in exactly what it is you want people to do or why you want them to follow. So it says, why not get more specific? Follow me on Twitter and get event updates and music recommendations. Follow me on Facebook to get all the tantalizing details about my life on the road. So it says to give your fans an idea of what the benefits of following you are, and they're most likely to click. Okay. It says using social like or share buttons on your website. Social network chart. Following and sharing are distinct activities, and they require different buttons and different perspective. So moving on, I don't want to read all of this. They do have a couple of companies that have these adding share buttons. One's called Share This, and one is called Add This. So apparently they're like buttons with some glitz and glam or something cute other than your normal or your average buttons, something to kind of make you stand out a little bit more. Using social media widgets and feeds. Installing an activity feed on your website, such as Twitter's feed widget, is basically a way of showcasing how wonderful you are on your favorite social network. And it's live, it's real time. This can be a double-edged sword, though. If it looks like you haven't shared anything in months, or all your posts are about what you ate for breakfast, it can deter people from following you, which is true. So it says here that the recommendation is not to install an activity feed unless you post at least a few times a week. Now, guilty as charged on that as well. You definitely you almost have to have a social media manager, somebody that is going to monitor and keep you up to date and, keep people informed all the time. Now, with Facebook Live, I really love it because Hey, Poopy, definitely gonna get you on this show. I thought about you today, but lost my train of thought. I got excited. You definitely the social media managers because again, I'm not, I guess it just depends on your preference. But as I was saying before I looked at this Facebook Live, I love the Facebook Live because one, it's real time. I can see the comments real time. You can actually see the people that join you and view you, which is great. And it's kind of a way too to gauge, those people that are interested. Like I said, last week was there was a lot of interest in the topic, which means that that's something that we need to delve in further. Let's see. Again, this article goes on. It talks about Facebook's commenting plugin, which I didn't even know existed. I'm going to post this again. Twitter also has a plugin, which is an alternative to the feed widget. But again, hopefully you found something that was insightful in the article for today. The Indie Artist Quick Tip. So now moving on. The Have You Heard segment. Tonight's artist is Madeline Victoria. She is from Texas. She has a single out, He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor. It topped the national AM/FM country charts. Her latest single released with Star One Records and MTS. It's currently number one on national country, as I say, AM and FM charts, New Music Weekly. The video was nominated for a 2016 Liberal Award in New York City. And her name is Madeline Victoria, and her website is madelinevictoriamusic.com. Now, again, we are branching out. We're a little more diverse. We're giving you an opportunity to see what other artists are doing that are not specific to your genre. We're branching out. So this week we're taking a look at someone that's doing some things in the country music realm. So take a look.
Looking for a good time. It's been a long week.
back. Where are my claps? I mean, even I keep saying my claps. Thank you. You know, I'm so just fast. You know, I really need all the help I can get tonight because I am a party of one in terms, you know, I don't have a co-host tonight. All alone. And I haven't had a drink. I'm excited. I am so happy and excited to be here. Tickled pink. So, as I said, I have been, you know, we are evolving and I'm looking to enhance the show as much as I can. And one of the things that I would like to do, because this show is not young. We've been doing this since 2014. And all of the interviews that I have done in the last couple of years, each and every one of them have provided some valuable information. You can learn from everybody. You can learn something from everybody. And so I've added a segment called the Indie Voice Vault. And what we will do from time to time is go back and review some of the interviews that I've done in the past. One of the things that I noticed, and shout out and kudos to Jeremy Beaver, who is the program manager, owner of this station, is that I realized the growth of WLVS, Listen Vision Live, the quality of the video, and just, you know, everything. We are evolving, and we are still in the process of evolving, making it better, not only for the broadcasters on the show, but also for the artists that come on the show and visit and see us. One of the things people say when they come in, I think they're a little surprised because I think they, you know, well, they're taken aback because they don't realize that it's like a real live studio and, you know, we're doing real things in here. So again, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Jeremy Beaver. Now, the artist that I am going back to revisit is Ayanna Gregory. Ayanna Gregory, you'll see the bio read when we start the video, but Ayanna Gregory is the daughter of Dick Gregory, and she is an amazing artist, an advocate, a very spiritual, very positive person, definitely her father's child, yes, and again, just a great talent. And it's also testament to what I've always said, I'll continue to repeat myself with this, is that even though DC is so big, it's also very small. But for it to be as small as it is, there's so many artists that we don't know about. And one of the great benefits of doing this show is that I have an opportunity to meet people that I wouldn't have normally met. And so I definitely would like to do things to kind of bridge that gap between the artists here in the DC metropolitan area. But anyway, that being said, view the video. Please excuse, there's a slight delay, but I want you to pay attention to some of the advice that she gives, some of her own personal insight, because for a person that has access to people like Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, Stevie Wonder, she had, just an endless amount of people that she could call on, Berry Gordy, at any given moment. She has chose to go the indie route. And so she talks about that. She talks about her creative process, gives some very valuable information. And another thing that I thought was invaluable was her message about fear, as far as it being paralyzing, and that people not only have a fear of failure, but also a fear of success. So I want you to take a look at the video. Again, please be patient with the slight delay, but just pay attention to the message and her performance. Dramatist, educator, and activist, music and art are more than entertainment. They are her mission. She has, of course, Ayanna is the daughter of legendary comedian and human rights activist Dick Gregory. She was blessed with the opportunity to interact with such mega talents as Bob Marley, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson. So in 1999, she teamed up with Grammy-nominated producer James McKinney to bring forth her first solo project, Beautiful Flower, released in 2003. In June 2007, Ayanna released her second CD project, Ballad for My Father, tribute to Dick Gregory. And her 2011 release, entitled Now, is quietly becoming a powerful healing anthem around the country. In 2013, Ayana released her much-anticipated children's album entitled I Dream a World. This upbeat and powerful album is inspiring young people everywhere to actualize their greatness and live out loud. Her most recent recorded work is a soulful tribute to her mother entitled Mama, This One's For You, released in May 2014. So in addition to her life as a soul singer, she spends much of her time as an educator and motivational speaker, teaching life skills and creative arts to school children and lecturing before diverse audience. So ladies and gentlemen, I introduce and present to you Miss Ayana Gregory. Thank you. I must say, I met Miss Gregory, Ayana, at, I just said it, Tacoma Station.
For Father's Day?
Yes. Oh! And it was so mesmerizing. It was a mesmerizing performance. And the spirituality and just your peaceful being and just how you appreciated the other artists.
Wow.
It was like, it just radiated from you. And I was like, I've got to get her on the show.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Oh my goodness. So from the beginning, when did you realize you had a voice? Not just the musical voice, but as an activist. And when did you realize the power in your message?
Well, it's interesting because it took me a while to connect the two. I knew that I could sing as a child. I knew that I was an activist as a child, but I didn't know that music and art would be my activism. I didn't make that connection until after college. I went to Howard University, studied sociology and African studies, and left school thinking that I was going to become sociologist, social worker. I knew that I wanted to be a part of healing the planet. And it took me years to figure out that music was going to be it. I was at an after-school program, Martha's Table, right down the street on 14th and U Street. And we were trying to get the headphones off the teenagers' ears. They were into their music, and we were trying to get them to pay attention to the lesson. And I thought, if I could be the voice in the headphone, and then it clicked for me that this is going to be my passport, my way of connecting to the youth and to the people. And so that's when I finally got it. You know, you didn't get this gift for no reason. This is what it's here for.
Wow. That's pretty empowering. So how soon after that did you start writing?
Right away. Right away.
Okay. So it's obvious in your music and performances that your father influenced you quite a bit.
Very much.
So growing up, what was it like? What was the day-to-day life in the Gregory household?
Do you really want to know?
Yes.
That's a wild dude right there. It was pretty crazy. In some ways, I think that we were a really big experiment for him. You know, anyone that knows him knows that he's really ahead of his time. So he was figuring things out in the moment, and there were things that hadn't really been done before. And so we were there sort of as a part of that experimental process. So if you can imagine, you know, in the late 60s and early 70s, being forced to be vegetarian and these earthy, you know, spiritual, universal, not religious, but these spiritualist, vegetarian, meditating, levitating children. You know, every day was a mixed bag, you know, because that's the thing that kept us humble, because on any given day, you know, we were exposed to the Hollywood celebrities, and then we were down in the ditches in Mississippi marching. So to have that juxtaposition of to be able to roll with the quote-unquote cream of the crop, and then at the same time know that ultimately we were fighting for the underdog, it was sort of this thing that kept us humble. You know, so it was pretty wild. You know, at times it was confusing. It was exciting, always. There was never a dull moment. You know, he's not just funny on stage, he's funny off stage too. And sometimes not funny when he's laying the laws down. You know, so it was a mix. You know, he taught us a lot. You know, he taught us how to meditate. He taught me how to listen to God. He taught us how to run. He was a serious runner, you know. So before the activism, before the comedy, he made his mark as a world-class runner. So You know, he took us, he moved us from the south side of Chicago in 1973 to Plymouth, Massachusetts, as in the Pilgrims, on 300 acres of land. We had to do mandatory camping on our own land. I said, Dad, who does that? Who does that? We did that. So you never really knew. You know, it was an exciting process. At times it was scary. At times it was confusing. You know, there were death threats. We knew that the FBI didn't like our dad. There were times we would answer the phone and people would threaten to kill him and hurt the family. So there were moments that were for a child.
Right.
You know, we knew the phones were tapped. It was such a dichotomous life. You know, so in all, he taught us. One of the things that he said all the time is that fear and God do not occupy the same space.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that we carried with us, you know, because there were some really dangerous and hateful places that we entered. You know, him being such a enemy of the government in the sense that he was really breaking down those barriers. And so to hold on to that idea that if you really do believe in the power and the presence of God, then you'll understand that even if you're afraid, that there's an internal voice that's saying you are protected, guided, and directed. And so that was, you know, it was a mix. It was a mix of things. Yeah.
So it's almost like, I mean, his form in the beginning was comedy, and then so he kind of used some of that influence for the greater good. So it's almost like you're carrying on that legacy through music.
That's true. That's very true.
That's pretty empowering, isn't it?
We do a song together on my first album called Warriors Rise. We got him in the studio and he did his thing. I did my thing, and it worked out.
Well, we salute you, Mr. Gregory. Thank you so much for all that you have done.
Thank you, Daddy.
We truly appreciate it. So, when are you most in your creative space?
When I'm around children. I am a child magnet. I make my living in part traveling the country doing motivational work with young people of all ages. And they're free. Young people are free until they're taught to lie, until they're taught to play the games. And so I spend time with young people because I'm a big kid. And they give me permission to stay connected to that child voice that just wants to break out and just do me. So they are a really big inspiration. And honestly, on stage, it wasn't always that way. I had to reach a place of understanding how the spirit moves on stage. Before, I had to show up as a professional musician, which meant you come prepared, which meant you know exactly what you're going to say, which means if somebody makes a mistake, you play it off, which means, you know, you show up as a polished musician, professional. And I didn't understand that in that you had to leave room for the spirit and that you had to leave room for the magic that can happen in the moment. And so now that I understand that, every show is different. My musicians are in back of me like, where's she getting ready to go next? And we're going to be with you. And, you know, I mean, black folk, that's what we do.
Right.
You know, we improv. We're in the moment. And it's the oral tradition. And it's the call and response. And so there are times when we do shows and I'm like, what just happened? Can we do that again? It's like, leave it alone. Don't even try to duplicate it. That was for that day. You know, so a lot of times now on stage, you know, being inspired by, people don't understand when you're on stage, it's not a one-way process. There's energy circulating in that room. And when you're giving, you're receiving.
Right.
And you're feeding off of that energy, whether it's this or this. And so, you know, there's a creation happening in the moment. Even if you've rehearsed something, it's never going to be the same if you're open, if you're open enough. And I think I'm finally open enough.
So then that kind of segues into the topic, the discussion topic, because again, we talk about spirituality and it's spirituality is very diverse, and there's no blue book or no how-to book on that. But in terms of tapping into that spirituality or tapping into that creative space in the writing and in the performing, what aside from the actual getting used to the performances and not being afraid to let go, is there anything else that you do to prepare, like meditating, or what else do you find that's freeing for you?
Spending time in nature. You know, I grew up in nature. We grew up on a lot of land. And so for me, even my concept of God came in the context of nature. The rising and setting of the sun, watching plants grow, watching the most beautiful colors in nature and flowers, things that man can't duplicate, and so for me that is big, being able to turn off the television, turn off the computer, turn off the phone, and just being still and breathing. The song Now was born out of me. I had just come out of a really painful relationship, and I was at a place where, sometimes you, as a grown-up, you feel like, man, I thought I got that lesson already. And it's embarrassing sometimes when you realize, no, you didn't get it. That's why it's here again. And so I was feeling upset about the relationship ending, but I was more angry and hurt that I had reached a space that I thought I was bigger than. And so a friend of mine dropped me off about an hour and a half outside of D.C. in Spotsylvania County, Virginia. It was at this black bed and breakfast on a whole lot of land. And nobody was there that weekend except for me and the brother who owned the house. And for 3 days, I sat by the water. I watched the butterflies. I was very present to the moment. I prayed, I cried, I wrote, and I journaled. I journaled. How do you feel? Why do you feel? What's next? What season are you in? What did you learn? And so from that, I wasn't thinking about songs. But out of that, I went back to all these pages of just me pouring out my soul and being vulnerable, allowing myself to be vulnerable. And I said, you know what? I've never allowed myself to be vulnerable on stage. This was before I had really made that transformation. As my father's child, I'm powerful, I'm a warrior, I'm educational, but vulnerable, contradictory, even sensual, although there were so many parts of me that I wasn't allowing that 360. And so I said, well, if you write this is going to be a much more authentic you. So now was sort of my anthem, my coming out to say, I spent my whole life dumbing my light down to make other people feel comfortable. Because I was afraid, not of failure, but I was absolutely afraid of flying. The idea of that level of magnificence and staying on that level was like petrifying, even though I was exposed to it my whole life. There's the irony of being born into greatness and given so much, and yet you running from it. So that was also the dichotomy of being taught to be a physical runner. And I'm like, and you still running now. So what's this about? What's this really about, figuratively? So I will say that part of the writing process for me is growing out of life experiences and being able to leave it all on the floor. So now my writing comes from, I get to tell on myself now. This ain't about teaching somebody else. I'm trying to fix somebody else. My thing is broke. Let me start here. So when I finally got that, I said, okay, that's what this is about, my healing. It's my own healing first. Yes, I want to help save the planet. Yes, I want to heal other people's broken hearts. But this process begins with me. Your breakthrough is my breakthrough. My breakthrough is your breakthrough. If I'm trying to tell you to be vulnerable and I have not broken through my shell, it's fruitless. So that has really, for me, the writing process has been, are you ready to be vulnerable? And just sitting in nature and being still, turning off the television and breathing and watching things in the moment. When you're watching a butterfly, it's hard to think about things in the past or the future. You're just in that moment. And I think that's what, more than anything, helps me to stay present to the voice that's coming through me, the spirit that's coming through me to write it. Because I can't really claim ownership of it because these songs came through me to heal me. So I'm just like, I was open. Thank you, Wow.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I know I need to take time to be still. My mind is always just cluttered with stuff. Cluttered with what I have to do tomorrow, next week, next month.
That's right.
So, and that in and of itself is challenging because with technology the way it is and us always trying to stay connected, carrying cell phones, checking Facebook, there's so many distractions.
So many.
So you're absolutely right. And I'm starting to write more, so I definitely need to take the time and be still and meditate.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's important.
Wow. Okay, so, and we'll get a chance to hear you sing now live in a few minutes.
Yes, you will.
But before we do that, and I'm really excited about that. As a matter of fact, as I said, when you get ready to sing, I'm going to move over there so
okay.
that I can, so I can just sit back and watch. So, the indie route versus mainstream. What was it that made you decide that you wanted to go the indie route versus using, I'm sure, the connections that you may have had, I'm sure you probably had, to go the mainstream route?
Well, I'm going to give you two answers. The first answer is the answer that I gave that was not fully complete. The answer that I would give, that I would have given 10 years ago, would have been to say that being exposed a little bit to what that world looks like and some of the dangers and some of the dis-ease and some of the viciousness that you can find yourself in the context of, I really didn't want to, there's a part of me that didn't want to expose myself to that. I've been very sheltered and protected, and even though I've traveled the world, I'm surrounded by really beautiful human beings with good energy who are solid, and they do what they say and they say what they do, and they're just on the up and up. And I thought, do I really want to enter a space where I'm going to be potentially having to deal with some energies that I may not feel comfortable around, but at the end of the day, it's going to be about a bottom line. And I didn't know that I was ready to do that. Now, that's real, but there was another part to it that I didn't know. And it has to do with being afraid of the lights. Part of me held a conversation that said, I can't do it authentically in the industry. I don't know that to be true, but I thought that was true. And so I think there was also me blocking a lot of blessings. Stevie Wonder, some years ago, this was a while ago, probably around 2005, he sent for me. I thought I was dreaming.
Wow.
And he sent for me. I went to Los Angeles to spend some time with him in his Wonderland Studios. And he wrote, he wanted me to write the piece. And so he sort of wrote part of this song, and he wanted me to finish it. And because I was so hard on myself, because this is Stevie Wonder's piece, and I'm I couldn't wrap my brain around it. So the writing process got stumped, and I sat on the song. And I have a lot of angry people who for years were like, what's wrong with you? Who in their right mind would do that? And I would give all types of reasons. Oh, this wasn't right. I didn't like what I wrote. Everything I wrote, didn't like it. And when I look at things like that, there were times that I took two steps forward and 10 steps backwards. I was afraid. I was afraid. So, not to say that the some of the things that I was leery of weren't real, but then there was this other part that I was able to hide behind that. I would hear all my life, why aren't you signed? How come people don't know about you? And it was just like staying safe. It was staying comfortable. So often people talk about the fear of failure, but I think a lot of people are afraid of success. A lot. And they don't recognize it because it doesn't make logical sense. Why would you be afraid of a blessing? But, when you grow up in a society like this one that teaches comfortability in mediocrity, then it makes sense that, you might be leaning towards sort of pulling back whenever that opportunity comes. So it was a mix. It was a mix. But I would say, being honest now, I blocked a lot of blessings because I was scared.
Okay. And I also believe that, and that I'm sure that was the case. But then the universe lets you know when it's your time or when it's time. So for whatever reason, that wasn't your experience. And it's things that we don't know could have lied ahead that, you were saved or you were spared from. So
I agree.
There are no mistakes. That's
right. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I received that. I needed to hear that. Thank you.
And it's never too late, especially now, being an indie artist and having all of the tools, being equipped with the tools to carry your career as far as you want it to go.
Yeah.
So a lot more is in your hands. So I see great things happening for you.
Thank you.
And I have another question, but before I ask that question, we're going to take a quick break so that you can prepare to sing your song.
Okay.
And when we close out the interview, we'll just make sure that people
know where you're going to be performing next, so people can come out and see you and support, and also find out how they can stay connected to you.
Okay.
So we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, and the beautiful voice that you will hear will be Miss Ayana Gregory's.
Yesterday is gone and tomorrow has not yet come. It's time to experience this magic that lives in this moment, right here, right now. Always play the victim role to satisfy my need to be right. Always feeling so alone, neglected by the men in my life, but they were just doing what I wanted. See, they were just giving me what I gave, but now I want the real thing. So let it be a new path I pave. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Afraid of my destiny. Who am I to live too big? The universe keeps blessing me, but every single time I renege, I'm filled with insecurities. See, I'm sabotaging royalty. It's a planned mediocrity, yeah. Self-fulfilled prophecy. I'm so afraid to let them see. Who is she? I know that I want more. What am I waiting for? I think I'm ready now. Forget what they told me. World can't hold me. You know that you want more. What are you waiting for? I think you're ready now. Forget what they told you, yeah. Well, I choose a different path now. I choose the higher road, and I don't have to be right no more. 'Cause in the end, only God knows. See, all I am is dust in the wind, and I'll return again. And freedom has made me sure. In this time, I'm seeking so much more. I'm seeking so much more, yeah. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. So now I'ma face my fears. See, I'm not gonna close my eyes. I stand naked before you. See, I release my disguise. And baby, now that I'm free. And baby, now that I'm free. Baby, now that I'm free, yeah. See, I can fall in love with me. I can fall in love with me, yeah, yeah. I know that I want more. What am I waiting for? I think I'm ready now. Forget what they told me. World can't hold me. You know that you want more. What are you waiting for? I think you're ready now. Forget what they told you, yeah. La 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 la. La 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 la. What are you afraid of? It's your time to shine. There is no gift greater, no gift greater than now, right now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Right here, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now, right now. I know that I want more. What am I waiting for? I think I'm ready now. Forget what they told me. World can't hold me. You know that you want more. What I
you're waiting for. I think you're ready now. Forget what they told you. Smiling now, I feel forever. Golden heart light as a feather. I'm finally ready now. Don't need to know how. Let go, breathe into the smiling now. I feel forever. Golden heart light as a feather. Finally ready now. Don't need to know how. Let go, breathe into the. You will find joy. Just remember. Your happiness lives within the let go, breathe and enter into the now, the now. You will find joy, just remember. Your happiness lives within the let go and breathe. Everybody breathe into the now. Welcome to the now. See, I know that I want more. What am I waiting for? I think I'm ready. Forget what they told me. See, this world can't hold me. And you know that you want more. What are you waiting for? I know you're ready now. Forget what they told you. World can't hold you now. Right here, right now.
Oh my goodness. We're not going to a commercial. We're not going to that was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So quickly, let's talk about where you're going to be performing next and how people can stay connected to you.
Okay. This Saturday, I will be at Evolve Vegan Restaurant in Tacoma Park, Maryland. So that is 341 Cedar Street. 341 Cedar Street in Tacoma. It's called Evolve Vegan Restaurant. And I'll be doing an acoustic set. So it'll just be my voice and my guitarist. It'll be a really intimate show. It starts at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I hope that you can make it. The best way to follow me is on Facebook. And you can send me a message. And you can also leave me, if you send me a message on Facebook, leave me your email address if you'd like to be on my mailing list, and then I will put it on the list and I can send out messages to you. My website is www.ayanagregory.com, and that's AYANNA Gregory.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and the name is I'm Ayana Gregory. So it's just the letter I, the letter M, and Ayana Gregory. And yeah, I'd love for y'all to stay tuned. My music is on iTunes and CD Baby, and I'm very reachable and Googleable. I have things on YouTube, so it's easy to find me.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Quickly, I'm just going to read the quote for the week and the lesson, and then we will prepare for the Earth Show. They're waiting. They're like getting ready to kick me out. Okay, so the quote is, "In faith, there is enough light for those who want to believe, and enough shadows to blind those who don't." And this quote was by Blaise Pascal. The lesson to this is, continue to move toward the light as you progress on your journey, whatever that may be. When you start to lose faith, confidence, and belief, that light starts to fade, and you move within the shadows that block your destiny. Bask in the glow of the light, surround yourself with positive influences, and live in your dream. So again, yes. And I thought of this before we even had the conversation. So again, it's like divine intervention.
On point.
So I'd like to thank you all for watching and listening. I'd like to thank my very special guest, Miss Ayana Gregory.
Oh, yeah. My life is a gift from you, blessed from heaven, that's for sure. So every day I live, give thanks to you. Oh, I haven't been perfect, and that's okay. And you still show love my way, yeah. Please don't leave me, stay, 'cause I know the sun doesn't shine, the rain doesn't fall, and there wouldn't be a twinkle, twinkle little star. And just like we have winter, spring, and summer, fall, I can always count on you, because you never let me down. You've always been around for me, and my trust for you will never leave. It will never leave, because you know my destiny. So I believe. Every day my faith gets stronger, knowing you're there, I hang on a little longer. Sometimes life gets a little hard, hey. Your times are tough, so hard to bear. I get weak sometimes, I feel you really don't care. But when I open my eyes and look out the window and see that the sun doesn't shine and the rain doesn't fall, and there wouldn't be a twinkle, twinkle little star, yeah. And just like we have a winter, spring, and summer, fall, I can always count on you, 'cause you never let me down. You always been around, yeah, yeah, yeah. My trust for you will never leave. It will never, never, never leave. 'Cause you know my destiny. I know if I believe, I know if I believe, yeah, yeah, I can do anything if I believe. I know if I believe,
I don't know what tomorrow is going to be for me, but today I can thank God for my life.